Das Rheingold is the first of 4 music dramas that constitute Richard Wagner's Der Ring des Nibelungen. It was performed as a single opera at the National Theatre Munich on 22nd September 1869 and received its first performance as part of the Ring cycle at the Bayreuth Festspielhaus on 13 August 1876. Wagner wrote the Ring librettos in reverse order so that Das Rheingold was the last of the texts to be written. It was, however, the first to be set to music. The score was completed in 1854, but Wagner was unwilling to sanction its performance until the whole cycle was complete. He worked intermittently on this music until 1874. The 1869 Munich premiere of Das Rheingold was staged, much against Wagner's wishes, on the orders of his patron King Ludwig II of Bavaria. Following its 1876 Bayreuth premiere, the Ring cycle was introduced into the worldwide repertory, with performances in all the main opera houses, in which it has remained a regular and popular fixture. In his 1851 essay, Opera and Drama, Wagner had set out new principles as to how music dramas should be constructed, under which the conventional forms of opera, arias, ensembles, choruses were rejected. Rather than providing word settings, the music would interpret the text emotionally, reflecting the feelings and moods behind the work by using a system of recurring leitmotifs to represent people, ideas, and situations. Das Rheingold was Wagner's first work that adopted these principles, and his most rigid adherence to them, despite a few deviations. The Rhine maidens frequently sing in ensemble. As the preliminary evening within the cycle, Das Rheingold gives the background to the events that drive the main dramas of the cycle. It recounts Alberic's theft of the Rhine gold after his renunciation of love, his fashioning of the all-powerful ring from the gold, and his enslavement of the Nibelungs, Wotan's seizure of the gold and the ring, to pay his debt to the giants who have built his fortress Valhalla, Alberic's curse on the ring and its possessors, Erda's warning to Wotan to forsake the ring, the early manifestation of the curse's power after Wotan yields the ring to the giants, and the gods' uneasy entry into Valhalla, under the shadow of their impending doom. Now, on the Wikipedia page, there are many different options and sections. There's background and context. There are roles, synopsis, writing history, performances, music, critical assessment, recording, and some notes and references. So the roles: Wotan, god of battle and of contracts, ruler of the gods; Loge, demigod of fire, Wotan's clever, manipulative, executive servant; Fricka, goddess of family values, wife to Wotan; Freya, goddess of love and beauty, guardian of the golden apples; Fricka's sister; Fro, god of spring and sunshine, Freya's gentle brother; god of thunder; Donner, god of thunder, Freya's hot-tempered brother; primal earth mother; Erda, goddess of earthly wisdom; Alberic, power-hungry dwarf, lord of Nibelungs; Mime, Alberic's brother, a cowardly expert metalsmith, Fasolt, giant in love with Freya; Fafnir, giant, Fasolt's ruthless brother; Voglinde, river nymph; Velgunda, river nymph; Flosshilde, river nymph. And the synopsis. Scene 1. At the bottom of the Rhine, the 3 Rhine maidens, Voglinde, Velgunda, and Flosshilde, play together. Alberic, a Nibelung dwarf, appears from a deep chasm and tries to woo them. The maidens mock his advance, and he grows angry. He chases them, but they elude, tease, and humiliate him. A sudden ray of sunshine pierces the depths to reveal the Rheingold. The maidens rejoice in the gold's gleam. Alberic asks what it is. They explain that the gold, which their father has ordered them to guard, can be made into a magic ring which gives power to rule the world if its bearer first renounces love. The maidens think they have nothing to fear from the lustful dwarf, but Alberic, embittered by their mockery, curses love, seizes the gold, and returns to his chasm, leaving them screaming in dismay. Scene 2. Wotan, ruler of the gods, is asleep on a mountaintop with a magnificent castle behind him. His wife, Fricka, wakes Wotan, who salutes their new home. Fricka reminds him of his promise to the giants Fasolt and Fafnir, who built the castle, that he would give them Fricka's sister Freya, the goddess of youth and beauty, as payment. Fricka is worried for her sister, but Wotan trusts that Loge, the demigod of fire, will find an alternative payment. Freya enters in a panic, followed by Fasolt and Fafnir. Fasolt demands that Freya be given up. He points out that Wotan's authority is sustained by the treaties carved into his spear, including his contract with the giants, which Wotan therefore cannot violate. Donner, god of thunder, and Fro, god of sunshine, arrive to defend Freya, but Wotan cannot permit the use of force to break the agreement. Hoping that Loge will arrive with the alternative payment he has promised, Wotan tries to stall. When Loge arrives, his initial report is discouraging. Nothing is more valuable to men than love, so there is apparently no possible alternative payment besides Freya. Loge was able to find only one instance where someone willingly gave up love for something else. Alberic the Nibelung has renounced love, stolen the Rheingold, and made a powerful magic ring out of it. A discussion of the ring and its powers ensues, and everyone finds good reasons for wanting to own it. Fafnir makes a counter-offer. The giants will accept the Nibelung's treasure in payment instead of Freya. When Wotan tries to haggle, the giants depart, taking Freya with them as hostage and threatening to keep her forever unless the gods ransom her by obtaining and giving them the Nibelung's gold by the end of the day. Freya's golden apples had kept the gods eternally young, but in her absence they begin to age and weaken. In order to redeem Freya, Wotan resolves to travel with Loge to Alberic's subterranean kingdom to obtain the gold. Scene 3. In Nibelheim, Alberic has enslaved the rest of the Nibelung dwarves with the power of the ring. He has forced his brother Mime, a skillful smith, to create a magic helmet, the Tarnhelm. Alberic demonstrates the Tarnhelm's power by making himself invisible, the better to torment his subjects. Wotan and Loge arrive and happen upon Mime, who tells them of the dwarves' misery under Alberic's rule. Alberic returns, driving his slaves to pile up a huge mound of gold. He boasts to the visitors about his plans to conquer the world using the power of the ring. Loge asks how he can protect himself against a thief while he sleeps. Alberic replies the Tarnhelm will hide him by allowing him to turn invisible or change his form. Loge expresses doubt and requests a demonstration. Alberic complies by transforming himself into a giant snake. Loge acts suitably impressed and then asks whether Alberic can also reduce his size, which would be very useful for hiding. Alberic transforms himself into a toad. Wotan and Loge seize him, tie his hands, and drag him up to the surface. Scene 4. Back on the mountaintop, Wotan and Loge force Alberic to exchange his wealth for his freedom. he summons the Nibelungen, who bring up the hoard of gold. He then asks for the return of the Tarnhelm, but Loge says that it is part of his ransom. Alberic still hopes he can keep the ring, but Wotan demands it, and when Alberic refuses, Wotan tears it from Alberic's hand and puts it on his own finger. Crushed by his loss, Alberic lays a curse on the ring until it should return to him. Whoever possesses it will live in anxiety and will eventually be robbed of it and killed. The gods reconvene. Fasolt and Fafnir return with Freya. Fasolt, reluctant to release her, insists that the gold be piled high enough to hide her from view. Wotan is forced to relinquish the Tarnhelm to help cover Freya completely. However, Fasolt spots a remaining crack in the gold through which one of Freya's eyes can be seen. Loge says that there is no more gold, but Fafnir, who has noticed the ring on Wotan's finger, demands that Wotan add it to the pile to block the crack. Loge protests that the ring belongs to the Rhine maidens, and Wotan angrily declares that he intends to keep it for his own. As the giants seize Freya and start to leave, Erda, the earth goddess, appears and warns Wotan of impending doom, urging him to give up the cursed ring. Troubled, Wotan calls the giants back and surrenders the ring. The giants release Freya and begin dividing up the treasure, but they quarrel over the ring itself. Fafnir clubs Fasolt to death. Wotan, horrified, realizes that Alberic's curse has terrible power. Donner summons a thunderstorm to clear the air, after which Fro creates a rainbow bridge that stretches to the gate of the castle. Wotan leads the gods across the bridge to the castle, which he names Valhalla. Loge does not follow. He says in an aside that he is tempted to destroy the treacherous gods by fire. He will think it over. Far below, the Rhine maidens mourn the loss of their gold and condemn the gods as false and cowardly. The end of the synopsis. Praise God. John Ross.